All right. So first off, I'm using some zebra print washi tape. The tape is just, is to do targeting, so he can see it. It's very high in contrast, and I put it on the door about handle height, because that's usually where the stuff is going to be. I do leash him while I do this because it's easier on me. But yeah, so first we did him just coming and pawing. So Madison, touch, touch. Yes, good boy. So obviously your dog needs to know the touch command. You can look up other videos because that's pretty easy to teach. You can decide nose or feet. He works best with his feet because he's very hard-footed. But come back. If you didn't see, I am using a piece of tape as a target. Actually, now that I think about it, now stand. I do have this that I'll go ahead and use. It'll be a little bit easier for me and for him to understand what I want. I do suggest doing targeting tape, though. It's very easy. But yeah, so now you can very well see what he is pushing. Like I said, he is leashed. It's easier on me. It's easier to communicate with him. Denali, touch. Denali, sit. So we first taught him how to do touch, which is basically just doing 1 foot, not asking him to go all the way up, so that way he understands. Denali, sit. Sit. Thank you. Touch. Touch. Good boy. So that's how we started out, and slowly but surely working things up higher. I then started teaching him up. So, Denali, face me. Hey, face me. Sit down. So then I started teaching him up. So, Denali, up, up. Good boy. It works better for him to jump up on me first, and then we started working on him figuring out how to do it towards a wall. But once he started to understand what the word up meant, then you could do up touch. So up touch is basically, Denali, come here. Come heel. Come heel. Good boy. Ready? Ready? Smother. Up touch. Up touch. All the way. Up touch. Good boy. Hey. Ready? Up touch. Up touch. Up touch. Good boy. It doesn't have to be perfect at first. He just needs to be kind of starting to target where it needs to be. So when you first start doing it, don't expect them to be perfect and start hitting it every single time, because it's not going to happen. Denali, come here. Let's see if we can't get you exactly on the dot. Ready? Up touch. Up touch. Up touch. Right here. Touch. Touch. Come on. Up touch. Perfect. Good boy. So he did get that one that time. It does take him a minute. It does take him a minute to figure out where his feet need to go. You got to understand that dogs aren't necessarily used to using their feet like that. Good. I've been on the low side. I'm looking at going into PHP care for mental health. But physically wise, things have been going kind of okay. I mean, as okay as I can get with EDS. But my mental health has been shit, to be quite honest. So, hey, you ready? You ready? You want to do one of your favorites? Huh? Up, 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 up. Good boy. Who's a good boy? Yes, yes. Up. Good boy. Yeah, elevator button. Okay. So for doing elevator button, you want to do what I did earlier. Washi tape is basically duct tape, but with a easier adhesive, and it's about this big, and you can use it to do targeting for smaller buttons. That's what I usually suggest, is the tape, which he does really good with tape. It's actually the larger buttons that he has trouble with rather than the tape. Denali gets kind of panicky over elevators in general, so we've currently been working on getting him more desensitized to elevators, because it kind of depends elevator to elevator of what he's comfortable with and what he's not comfortable with. So I have his spot. All right, let's do one more. Want another one? Huh? You ready? You ready? Ready? Hey, Denali, up touch, up touch. Good. One more. Up touch. Good boy. Okay. Denali, come here. Denali, up touch. Right here. Up touch. Okay. Denali, up touch. Right here. So there you go. Perfect. Up touch. Up touch. Up touch. Right here. Yes. Hello. I do not like escalators. Personally, Denali can do them in an emergency. I know that he can do them. I do not put my dog on an escalator. It's not good. I, as a child, got caught in an escalator, and they terrify me. They make me anxious, so I don't feel comfortable putting my dog on them. But in an emergency, if I absolutely have to, Denali will do them. It's just I don't feel comfortable doing them. Definitely desensitize her near them, whether it be with toys or food, and work your way closer and closer. It's going to take a really long time. It took me a very long time to get Denali to understand what's going on, which he didn't have very much desensitization when he was a baby because we didn't live in the city. So the more you're close to them, the better it'll be. So we're going to try and do some lights. Yeah. Let's not hit the pictures that have not been hung up yet. Denali, come here. Come here. Right here. Come here. Come on. Come here. Right here. Ready? Lights. Come on. Up touch. Up touch. Right here. Not that button. Up touch. Right here. Up touch. Light switch. Right here. Up touch. Come on. Up touch. Yes. Good boy. Good boy. So it's basically the same idea with the light switch as it is with the button. It's same on concept, up touch, up touch. Yeah, I'll have to do another video on desensitization because Denali is a very soft being beyond what people think. He's a very brave dog. It's part of the German Shepherd breed, but that kind of stuff, he does get anxious on stuff like that. So, do you want to see if you can open a door? Huh? You want to see if you can open a door? Okay, come here. Ready? Smell. Hey, smell. Up touch right here. Oh, come on, door down, come on, door down, up touch, right here. Close. And you need to let him win. He is doing an up touch. He is doing what he is asked. Denali just gets kind of disoriented. He doesn't quite know. We have a lot of glass elevators, so you can see out of them. Okay. Denali, come here. Come here. Right here. Right here. Ready, baby? Okay. Ready. Up touch. Come on, up touch. Get the door. Get the door. Yep, right there. Yeah. Yeah, good. So, door is open. Come here, bud. Leave Kiki alone. Come here. Come here. I do have paddle doors, though. I do not suggest a protective breed for a first PTSD dog. I do not suggest German Shepherds for a first dog in general. They have a very high wash rate. They do have protection issues, and if you have no idea what you're doing, you're going to get a washout real quick. So, I also don't like the trend of everybody getting German Shepherds right now. Not a fan, because I can just see a bunch of these dogs washing. And it sketches me out about where the people are getting them from, so... work through it. Any kind of generalized anxiety, it's the same basic concept depending on what it is. Work through it. Desensitizing him to those kinds of situations, regardless of what they are, is basically the same idea. Denali used to be terrified to use his front feet to do anything. So it took a very long time to get him to understand what he was doing. Denali, you want to do the lights again? Do you want to do lights? Do you want to do lights? Huh? Come here. Ready? Up, touch. Right here. Up, touch. No, not the door. Okay. Denali, come here. Up, touch. Right here. Up, touch. Up, touch. Close. Up, touch. Up, touch. I know it's my sister. Oh, hey. Hi, Kayla. Yeah, I do suggest, I love poodles. I don't suggest doodles for people who have certain restraints. Doodles are a mix. They don't have a standard, so you can't exactly say they're going to be one way or another. I think they're excellent dogs. I think they're really cute. But you can't say that they are going to be one way because they are not a breed standard. They're a mix. So that's the only beef I have with doodles. I do love poodles, though. I would absolutely die to have a poodle. I cannot stand the breed, the hair requirement. No, stop it. Go back. Thank you. I don't care. It's a small world. There's a whole ass truck named Denali, which he is not named after the truck. Yeah, I suggest getting a poodle. If you can handle the hair, get a poodle. Denali, do you want to do some other stuff? No. Yes.
What are you doing?
Doing a live training.
Oh. I'm sorry.
Do you want to go get a drink? Will you go put water in there for him real quick?
Yes.
Go get a drink. Go on. Go get a drink. He's going to go get a drink. It's rather hot in my house. Yeah, I do like poodles. They're real cute. I would like to get a poodle, but like I said, I can't handle the hair. Hi, kitty. No, my leash. Thank you. I'm surrounded by cat right now. All my cats are in here now. Which, Booker. This is actually my sister's cat, but Booker. Yeah. And then my other cats are those two black cats just chilling over there. My gear wall is kind of out of sorts. I'm currently going through some stuff and getting rid of some stuff. Trading, flipping, figuring out what all I want to do. I am getting 2 new capes done for a trade on some gear. For those of you who don't know, Booker is named after Booker DeWitt, after BioShock. No. Stop doing that. Denali, come here, baby. Hold on. I gotta open my door the rest of the way. Come here, baby. Come here. You're a good boy. You're a good boy. Hello. Oh, we got an itch. Oh, you got an itch. Okay, so alert training is the same basic concept for touch training. Give me 1 second. I'm actually going to go get my chair so that way I can sit and do the touch training because I'm getting real dizzy, so give me a minute. Denali tum. Denali tum front. Denali stand. Good boy. Hey, I need to use my chair real quick. So, gotta move some stuff real quick. Yeah, and don't get me wrong, Germans can do good psychiatric work, don't get me wrong. It's just not as easy. Especially if you don't know what you're doing or if you've never trained a German. Honestly, I think the only one that I've seen who really knows what they're doing with shepherds and working breeds of that type is Paul's in Love and no, leave Booker alone. There you go, Book. No, you leave Kiki alone. He likes to try and play with the cats, and then when cats don't want to play, he gets upset. But Paul's in Love, I know what they're doing with working breeds. I don't always agree with everything that Lexi does. I have my own opinions, but she also has a very good husky, and huskies are usually harder to train than Germans. So I think that she'll be okay training-wise, but I don't know personality-wise how well a German's going to work for what she needs it to do. So, alert-wise, Denali, come over here, other side. Thank you. Come round. Round. Thank you. Denali, sit. Sit. Thank you. Alert-wise, it's going to start with a touch command. So, Denali touch. Denali touch. No, not nose touch. Paw touch. Thank you. So Denali knows two different kinds of touch, a nudge with his nose and a foot. So basically what an alert would look like is that, which is interference. Another form of alert would be, Denali. Good boy. Again, deep pressure therapy during panic attacks. Another good form of alert would be Denali. Another form of interference, getting you to stop scratching. Or Denali, stand. Come side. Round. Okay, come round. I need you to help me get out. There you go. Another form would be Denali. Yes, good boy. Before I pass out, you rock. It's your body trying to bring up your blood pressure. It's what my body does. Another form before I pass out is shallow breathing. So, Denali, pay attention. Denali, watch. Hey. Yes, good boy. So that's another form of alert. Those are all forms of alert for him, depending on what the situation is. I need to sit back down. But basically how I taught that was, I don't have a box, but I originally started with a touch box. Get a little box, little cardboard box, duct tape it up so it's a little bit stiffer. And basically, then I'll come inside. Thank you. So basically what you would do is you hold the box and hold some treats in that hand and go, Denali, touch. And he's touching his nose to my hand or touching that box. That's if you want them to use their nose. Otherwise, what I find works best is slowly but surely you hold out on the treats. Yes, I do drive. I'm been cleared to drive. I'm allowed to drive. I have a modified vehicle for the dog and my chair. Denali, ready? Denali, touch. Denali, touch. Not with your nose. Foot touch. No, touch. Thank you. So, we started with targeting. You can look up targeting online. There's a lot of different places that do targeting. You can use targeting stickers. You can use a plaque like I do over here. Denali, do you want to come up? Up cover. Up cover. Good boy. He's a real good boy. Okay, off. I wet. What? Thank you. With my form of dysautonomia, it is any form of action that causes me to pass out. It's also extremely hard for you to pass out while seated. Your body has ways of fighting against it. So very few people actually have full syncope while passing out. Leave Kiki alone. He doesn't want to play. Very few people do. People with seizures, on the other hand, that's a different thing. But syncope, very rarely do you have syncope seated. I don't want to say it's extremely rare, but it's not very common. And in my form of dysautonomia, I've never had any form of full syncope behind the wheel. I've had tachycardia. I've had dissociative states and stuff like that, but that was when I was off medication. So, but I have been cleared to drive. I assure everyone I am safe to drive. My doctor is well aware of my conditions and the span of them and how that happens. I am not allowed to drive, however, without the dog. I have to have somebody with me if the dog is not present, and I'm not allowed to drive independently without the dog. So, what are you doing? Quit licking your beans. Come here. He's licking his tootsies. Come here. Yeah. They legally have to ask you that. They legally have to ask you if you are a risk to pass out behind the wheel, legality-wise. But can you stop chasing your butt? Come here. Come here. Here. I'm going to let him play with his bowl for a minute because he's being a good dog and waiting. Here. Get your ball. Come here. Sit. Catch it. Good boy. Let him chew on his ball for a minute. I don't get a ticket, I can get my license taken away. That's me basically disrespecting the law. That's like you going without glasses or contacts. You're not allowed to do that. So, as long as I have somebody else present and the dog, I can't drive alone, basically. I'm not allowed to drive alone. But like I said, I haven't had full syncope in the last 3 years, like a full out and stayed out. Most of the time, glasses are on your license. But if I get in trouble or something happens and I'm behind the wheel, say I get in a car accident because I passed out and I didn't have the dog with me, I would get in trouble because I didn't take the responsibility. If, I passed out behind the wheel and didn't have somebody else with me, that's on me. It's just kind of how they also do whether or not seizure patients are allowed to drive. Yes. Yeah. Denali has never fully missed a full syncope alert ever. He's had off days where it's not exactly been, you know, as prompt or as long of a period of time, but he's never missed a full syncope alert ever. And honestly, if he did, I probably would look at getting a prospect. That's just how it is, because I have to be able to drive to work, to go to doctors. I have to be able to drive. My sister also does not drive. My sister is autistic and cannot drive. Her issues are a whole other thing, but my sister is legally not allowed to drive. Like, that is not going to happen for the safety of her and everyone around her. It's between me and my doctor on what he believes is safe. Like I said, I've never had any issues behind the wheel, and it's highly rare. He rides in my trunk, but I drive an SUV, so my car is open. So he is able to, he usually does 1 bark alerts, but doing pawing and nosing, he jumps from the back to the front. But he's only ever done that once. Which is a part of the reason why I don't have a grate on my car. Yeah, well, we also have people who are drunk driving and on narcotics and driving, and people who are driving without a license and driving without insurance. We also don't have universal health care. So there's a lot of things here that don't make sense. Denali, come. No, come. Leave it. Denali, come. Leave it and come here. No. No. Denali. What? I know. Come here. What? I know. Come here. Come around. Come around. Up cover. Up cover. I don't like when people drive with their service dog in the front seat unless it is necessary and medically necessary. My friend's dog actively tasks while driving, so I get that. I do not feel comfortable. I have been in several car accidents, and the last one, Denali, was injured. So I do not feel comfortable having my dog in the front seat. If you are going to have your dog in the front seat and it doesn't interfere with them tasking, seatbelt your dog, and put the seat all the way back up off the airbag, so that way it's a little less dangerous. You're welcome. I'm excited for you. Getting a new service dog is always exciting. Yeah, I don't feel comfortable with dogs riding in the front seat. But like I said, if it is necessary and medically necessary, like, that is none of my business. But I do think that people who need that do need to take, you know, get them, if it's a small dog for alert, get them a little car seat, the setups that have them seat belted in, push it back up off the airbag as much as you can. Honestly, if you can block the airbag and modify your car, or you can also unplug the airbag in that part of your car, you can ask somebody to do it. Then I do suggest doing that, as long as no one else rides in that passenger seat. You know, if it's just the dog, seatbelt them. So a fake service dog is a service dog that basically, A, does not mitigate a disability. It's there strictly for emotional support or to just be there. The handler is not disabled, and the dog does not mitigate that disability, or the dog may be task trained. The dog may mitigate a disability, but it does not behave properly. It does not behave as a service dog. Thus, it does not need to be out in public creating the fake service dog phenomena. Honestly, I think I'm probably going to stick with the German Shepherd breed or getting a Newfoundland. I absolutely love Newfies. I've worked with protection breeds. Obviously, I know what I'm doing. So I would love to have a Newfie. St. Bernard would be great, but I don't know if I can handle a giant breed. But I know, reliable wise, I'm probably going to continue to have German Shepherds for the rest of my life. I've had them my whole life. I grew up with them. I had working Shepherds my whole life, protection dogs, herding dogs, farming dogs. I've worked with working breeds my whole life. So that's just kind of the breed of choice for me. Which fake service dog and pet in store are often interchangeable. I'm under the belief that if you bring your dog into a non-pet friendly area and they let you in, you are stating that your dog is a service dog. You are under the guise that your dog is a service dog. Regardless if it comes out of your mouth or not. You're in a place. A service dog cannot be aggressive, but under the ADA, there is no term for a dog having trained aggression. So basically, that's protection training, bite training, those kinds of things are not, the ADA doesn't have problem with those, but aggression is not allowed, if that makes sense. Okay, so light mobility work. Light mobility work, you're going to look for, I would suggest sticking to, if you can handle a golden or a lab, some staff, like bull terrier staffies, they do really well if they're well socialized and have a lot of work. Yes, the dog can be removed from the store if it's misbehaving. No, that doesn't necessarily make the dog a service dog, but it's a reoccurring thing and it's obviously reactive, then no, it is not. If it's not task trained, if it's not public access trained, it's not a service dog, period. This is going to be a warning, as I feel as though you're trying to test me on the ADA law. You're coming off as defensive. I understand the ADA law, so this is your warning. I would try and stick with some of the larger breed dogs. Denali is about 80 pounds, 75, 80 pounds. He wavers right about there. So he is on the larger side, not the largest side of Germans. My previous was 110, 120. But he is on the larger side. Do you need to go out and get a drink? Go get a drink. Yes, the dog has to be task trained and it needs to be under control at all times and be for someone who is legally disabled. That is a service dog. But the dog needs to be under control. Denali works off leash part of the time. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. Transgender service dog. That's pretty much what I'm getting at. If it's not public access trained, it's not. It can be a stay-at-home service dog. That's fine. But the moment you bring it out into public, that does not make it a service dog. No, there is no testing. However, guys, They're fighting over food. No, there is no testing. However, I do think that your dog should at least be able to, one, it does need to be able to pass the ADA guidelines. The standards of which a service dog should be held up to. So yeah, your dog needs to be able to pass that. And I think, in my opinion, your dog should be able to pass a CGC test at the bare minimum. Denali has both his CGC and his ADA test. He is getting his urban CGC here soon. Yes, the dog under law has to be under the handler's control at all times. No, there are dogs that I see that, it might just be having a bad day. As long as the dog, if I can see it and I'm not 100% certain, it's none of my business. As long as your dog isn't coming after mine or is blatantly obvious not a service dog, it's none of my business. I've seen plenty of service dogs out in public that I've had questions. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe it's not in the best condition. But that's none of my business. As long as it's well behaved and it doesn't mind my dog, I don't care. But most of the time when I throw a holy living shit fit is when they're being carried, they're being put into carts. It barks at my dog, it growls at my dog, it accosts my dog, it attacks my dog. Yeah, that's when I should throw a holy living shit conniption. Because Denali's been attacked 4 times. 3 small dogs. They were small, moppy little dogs. The one was a Shih Tzu, and that busted his nose up and made him bleed. He has a scar on his nose from where it bit him in the face in a Target. The woman lost her mind and said my dog attacked her dog when my dog was the one who was bleeding on the floor, and her dog was on a flexi leash and A-OK. A 5-pound dog just attacked a 80-pound German Shepherd and came out unscathed. So, yeah. She got thrown out. The manager here at the Target that I go to knows me. I trained in there for forever. They know me. They're well aware. And then the last one was traumatizing. Denali was attacked by a large Burmese mountain dog mix, and it tried to charge him and came very close to him. At the time I was walking, luckily, and I grabbed him. I shouldn't have grabbed him by the harness. I wish I didn't, but I did. I grabbed him by the top section of, not the handle, the girth of his mobility harness, and I basically picked him up and moved him in front of me to try and move him out of the way. And a off-duty Marine, ironically, was right behind me he was a canine handler who had his dog tags on him, who basically choke slammed this woman's dog to get it off of Denali, to keep it away from Denali. I owe that man a lot. I don't know his name. I don't know who he was. He was a complete stranger. But he saved my dog from getting seriously injured. That was my last close call. That was the last time that I was open and willing to dogs near my dog in public. So yeah, if I see another dog, I stay away from it. And the only reason I film is because if that dog gets loose and gets a hold of my dog, I want proof. I do not get on top of dogs unless they end up right there. Like the issue with the Cocker Spaniel in my past video, that issue happened. I literally came out of the elevator and it was right there. I was stuck in an elevator. So yeah, give the dog space regardless. I even meetups, I get sketched out. It's not me being rude. It's not me, questioning your dog. It's just dogs are dogs, and I can't run the risk of him being injured. I just can't. Same thing, if you have your dog out in public and it behaves like any other service dog, even if it's naked, if it's minding its own business in a heel, minding its business, behaving, I don't care. It's when it is blatantly obvious that that's not a service dog. And what I hate is when people are like, well, how do you know it's not a service dog? Look at it. Look at it. Go down the line of criteria for a service dog under the ADA. it ain't it. Yeah, I thought Denali was gonna wash. I really did. After that incident with the Burmese, it took me 4 or 5 months to get him to the point where jingling keys didn't freak him out, when people walking behind him didn't freak him out, where dogs coming at him from the side quickly didn't freak him out. It took me a long time, a very long time, and I really thought I was going to wash him. That's my thing. I love when people tell me, they're like, well, how do you know it's not a service dog? When I'm telling them your dog is not a service dog, like in the incident with the elevator. I hate it. Well, how do you know it's not a service dog? It's actively trying to get to my dog. I am trapped on an elevator because of your yappy little dog. Like, yeah. Luckily, I'm confident in the fact that as long as it's not a big dog, I'm not concerned. Denali can handle himself just fine. It's big dogs that really freak me out. It's big dogs that could kill him and seriously injure him. Those are the ones that I worry about. So, no, I carry a knife, mace, and a stun gun on me at all times in public anymore. Small service dogs are extremely valid. They're important and valid. And honestly, if I didn't have mobility needs, I would have a small service dog for medical alert. I would. It's easier. But I do think that they are very easy to fake. Along with my unpleasant opinion that PTSD dogs are valid and important, and they are a very, very valid form of service dog, but they are the easiest one for people to fake. But because they're little dogs and no one's going to absolutely freak out, they're easy to hide. They're easy to put in your purse. They're easier to carry around, and they're just, in general, cause less of a ruckus. When a little dog barks, not nearly as many people hear it. That, and they're just more common. People just think that, oh, it's just a little dog. Yeah. No, if a dog bites, no. Period. Your dog should not bite at all. At least not in that kind of situation. Biting is still considered to be aggression. So, in my opinion, if your dog bites, it's not. It is task trained for a disabled handler, correct, but it does not follow the ADA guidelines. That includes being under control, and that includes not biting people. Yeah. And that's where people start trying to think that all service dogs are mean. I've had so many people ask me if Denali bites. He's a dog with teeth. He has the ability to bite, but no, he will not bite you. Oh. Canada's freaking weird. I do love bag milk, though. My friend sent me bag milk. I still also am under the opinion that if service dog laws were upheld properly, if they were maintained properly, they wouldn't have to be changed. What we have is enough. It's people not following them, not enforcing them, and not charging people. Yeah, I also have had friends' dogs straight up be picked up in public, and every time I like have a small handler tell me that like, oh, my dog got picked up or my dog got like taken away from me or whatever, all I think is somebody trying to do that to Denali and how uncomfortable he would be being picked up. So yeah. Yeah, if people would follow the laws and actually like know their rights, we wouldn't have nearly as big of a problem. Denali is playing with a squeaky toy. I can hear him. Kicking them out if the dog is misbehaving. You can ask 2 questions, but if you can see the dog misbehaving and not following the guidelines and knowing what a service dog looks like, you have every right under our law, under the ADA, to ask them to be removed if they're being disruptive, regardless of what you say. So Denali, yes, is a service dog. If he had an off day and started smelling things or barking at somebody or pulling away from me or doing something stupid, yeah, that store has the right to tell me to leave and return without the dog because he wasn't acting right. There we go. That's better. Stores need to understand what a service dog looks like. Everyone needs to understand what a service dog looks like, and people need to stop fake registering their dog online. They need to stop putting a vest on their pet. They need to stop putting them in carts. If your dog's not misbehaving or showing any signs or showing any kind of reactivity, then it's no one's fucking business. If I can't tell that that's not a service dog, it's none of my business. But if you can tell that that's not a service dog, then yeah, it is my business. And yeah, you do need to be removed. That's my opinion. That's, in most cases, you can tell the dog's not a service dog. You can tell from a mile away that that dog's not a service dog. It is illegal here in the state to vest your dog and pass it off as a service dog. It is a second-degree misdemeanor. It is against the law. In my state, I live in Ohio, to misrepresent your dog, for your dog to attack a service dog, or for you to attack a service dog, all the way up to a felony. I was gonna say, it's even more illegal in Canada, so. Hello, Alice. Still slapping a vest on a dog does not make it a service dog. I have a Julius Canine vest that I am selling. I have a Brilliant Canine vest that I am selling, both of which I personally do not use because they are easy to get to and they are the most common used in fakes. I do not use it. They are good vests. I like those freaking vests. They're easy to use, they're comfortable, they're one piece. But I'm not going to give people benefit of the doubt. I don't want people to see my dog in that vest and see him behaving and then see a dog in that vest and then think that, oh, well, the other one was real, so why isn't that one real? I believe service dogs in Canada have to pass a test and they have to have ID. I'm pretty sure, if I've been told correctly. No. But if you're bringing a dog into a non-pet friendly place, then you're still claiming your dog. Like, no. If you put a vest on your dog and you're in a public space and it doesn't say service dog, that's none of my fucking business. Like, whatever. I have plenty of friends who have non-service dogs who use Julius canine vests to hike because they're easy on, easy off, and they can swim and wash in them. So, yeah. Regardless, bringing a pet into a non-pet friendly place is against health code and illegal. Yeah, that's fine. Whatever. Like, as long as you're not breaking the law by going into non-pet friendly places, like, that's no one's business. But people need to go by what the corporate store says, not by calling and talking to a manager and them saying, yeah, it's fine. No, you need to follow the corporate if it's pet friendly or non-pet friendly. You don't have to mark your dog as in training, but I do think that if your dog does not meet the ADA requirements, it needs an in training thing, because it gives you a little bit more leniency. It gives people a little bit more of understanding that your dog is still in training, which is why it might not be as neat. Denali didn't get his in training patches off until he was a little over a year and a half old. So Denali's 2.5 now. So he's been active for about a year as a true passing all of his stuff service dog. He was about a year and a half old when we started taking those tests. Oh. What do you want from me, cat? My cat's being needy. Well, that's probably because Canada has things a little bit more regulated. That, and I've noticed a lot that people in Canada are oddly nice and respectful. People here are entitled as hell. Don't even get me started on freaking handicap spaces. Don't even get me started, because that whole thing needs to be fixed and rebooted. The whole thing needs fixed, because the whole thing is just, it's just not equal in any way. It makes no sense, especially because the disabled number is going up and up and up of how many people are disabled. So, listen, the entire country is falling the fuck apart. Healthcare is a nightmare. Disabled people is a fucking nightmare. Mental health care is a nightmare. It's 4 to 6 months of a waiting list to get in to see a medical health professional, unless you're actively trying to off yourself. That's fine. There are people who use handicap spots who are very valid, but they need to change that. There need to be spaces for people with equipment, and there needs to be spaces for without equipment. And people without equipment can't park in spaces that need equipment. So basically, van accessible spots need to be regulated. You need to have a different form of placard for van accessible spots. Because I get sick and tired of seeing people who don't have any form of equipment taking the van accessible spots, and then I can't get my shit out of my car. It's annoying. Like, it's fine if it's very valid. And I was in invisible disability for a very long time. It is valid and it is important that you have a handicapped parker. It's none of my business if you are or aren't, unless it's expired or you aren't using a handicap placard, then you're setting yourself up. But for the most part, it's the system that needs to be changed. That, and there needs to be more handicap spaces. There shouldn't be 5 handicap spaces to every 30 non-handicap, because most people are handicapped in some way, shape, or form. That and doctors are handing them bitches out like hotcakes, okay? You can get a freaking handicap plaque for mild asthma. Mild asthma. Not people who have asthma attacks. Mild asthma. You can also get them for migraines. Not a migraine condition, not chronic migraine, just you get migraines sometimes. It's very frustrating. I had to beg to get mine. It wasn't until I started having physical issues of walking and having serious issues that I got one. I had to beg to get mine. But yeah, they need to change. They need to change it to where, I know the red here is like a temporary tag. They need to change it to something crazy like bright green or bright purple or something is a I have equipment tag, basically. I have shit I need to get in and out of my car. And there needs to be purple or lime green or whatever color coded. I have EDS. It is a genetic disorder. It's a chronic genetic disorder. There is no treating it. There's management of symptoms, but it's degenerative. So that's how I ended up using a wheelchair. So yeah, I started off extremely healthy. I mean, within reason. I was always kind of a sick kid. I've always had autoimmune issues, but I actually was an awarded soccer player. I was gonna go to school, full ride. I had scholarships. I was very good at what I did. I was very good at sports, but I've broken 26 bones in my body playing, and it never got any better. So I had to stop doing those things because I would constantly hurt myself. And then by the time that I was 14, 15 is when I started to kind of degenerate, going downhill. Once you stop growing, you start deteriorating. And then kind of by the time I was 15, late 15s, early 16s is when I really started to have issues physically. And then by 16, 17, 18 is when I really started to struggle. But it wasn't until the last 2 years, so 19 and 20, that it's gotten to the point that it's crippling. It's extremely painful. And on top of that, I have the dysautonomia, so any form of exertion makes me pass out. So any kind of exertion makes me pass out. And then on top of that, I have other issues that just, they stack on one another. They're called commodities. They're joined illnesses. They're connected to one another. You have one, you have the others. It's kind of why EDS and POTS are so closely linked, which I don't have POTS. I have vasovagal dysautonomia or vasovagal syncope. Vasovagal syncope is something that happens to normal people. Say the sight of blood, that's vasovagal syncope, when people pass out from the sight of blood. Vasovagal dysautonomia, on the other hand, is chronic. It's a autonomic nervous disorder. That's good. Denali doesn't. He does wake me up out of nightmares if they're really wake up, because I can get really violent if they're trying to get me up out of them. It's better for me to wake myself up. which broken bones doesn't even count all the sprains and things that I've had. I've had a unknown number of sprains and dislocations. Usually my floating rib, your very bottom rib, is the one that comes out and shifts the most and hurts the most. Like dislocation wise. Most of my other nerve endings have been so badly damaged from dislocating and subluxating my joints. Thank you. Most of my other nerve endings have been so damaged from the movement that they don't hurt nearly as bad because there is no nerve endings there anymore. So that's kind of deemed as neuropathy. I do have asthma, but my asthma has been under control for several years now, but I always keep my inhaler because when I have panic attacks, it throws me into an asthma attack. But yeah, I do have asthma. Which that was another thing that no one ever understood as a kid, is the fact that I was extremely physically fit and yet I had really bad like sports-related asthma. That was just the beginning of the dysautonomia, the physical exertion that would throw me into it. Which having CPTSD on top of the physical issues, any form of hyperventilating can make me pass out. So having a panic attack makes me hyperventilate, and then I get lightheaded and I pass out. So it all is kind of clumped. Can you stop trying to eat my charger cord? Thank you. My cat's being a butthole. I wonder if Denali's outside my door. That's what I thought. Come here. Why didn't you let yourself in? Is it because my chair was there? This is my cat, Binks. He's so unhappy I'm holding him. Oh, I love you so much. I know, I'll put you down. There you go. The only time Denali has really saved my ass was he alerted while I was out and about downtown, and I was crossing the street downtown, and I was in traffic, and I wasn't using a crosswalk, and I about passed out, and he alerted beforehand and guided me off over to the side so that I could lay on the nasty ground. Can you stop swatting at him? My cats are being buttholes. What, Denali? What, baby? Come here. Come here. Big baby. He's a big baby. He's gotten so big. He's very muscular. He's my biggest cat. Beyond belief. I can't believe anything's bigger than Booker, but as long as you're using them for the right reasons, I don't care. Denali is e-collar trained. When he is off leash, he is on an e-collar. Because I am not able to correct him. Sir, I just let you in. Do you want back out? Or do you want me to kick the cats out? Thank you for that belch. Love that. Oh no, he wants beside me. That's his problem. Watch out. Come here. There you go. There's enough room. Come here. Come here. Come here. There you go. Yes, I did name him from Hocus Pocus. I have Binks. I have... Come here. I know. This is Alex. She is a polydactyl kitty. So she has thumbs, who is very unhappy that I'm holding her. Usually she's the sweet one, but she's not a fan. But she's polydactyl. She has thumbs. And then Booker, who is Booker DeWitt. Quit scratching the bed. My cats are being royal buttholes. You guys have food. I don't know why you guys are like this. Yes, you can have a service cat in Canada, which I think is awesome. I think that's really cool. Not gonna lie. What are you doing, Thackeray? Jump up there. There you go. He's chilling over here. They have their own little spot, at least until that becomes my sewing table. My mom got me a sewing machine. I'm very excited. Yeah. Here in the United States, you can have a mini horse, a dog, a monkey, and that's it. Those three. And the monkey is in a certain state. I forget what state, but it's in a very specific state. Otherwise, it can't be a service animal. Sir, what are you doing? What are you doing? Huh? What are you doing? Come here. Come here. You want a snack? Here. You want a snack? Snacks. Did training with Denali, and I'm answering some questions. Federal law is horses and dogs. So if you're in the United States, it's horses and dogs. I know exactly who you're talking about, and it's the autism service cat, and I love her, and I have talked to her, and I love their cat very much. Yeah, I love her. That, and I respect the fact that cats can be service animals in Canada, because there are a lot of people who I know who would benefit from having a service animal, who are allergic to dogs, and obviously can have a horse. So yeah, I do think cats would be good if they have their proper personality, which Booker would make an excellent service cat. He is very easily trainable. He knows how to sit and high five. My sister has taught him to sit and high five. So he's very smart. And he's very plop. He's very moldable. Nope, it is dogs and horses. Mini horse. Mini horse, not a real horse. Sir, can you stop licking your balls, please? I mean, the fleshy patch where they used to be. Yeah. I know you're in the same state. My brain is Swiss cheese. There's a lot of people I'm talking to. I don't see the reason why people freak out about their having card holders, because honestly, I would use them as ADA card holders, or just putting a patch in there or something like that. Like, yeah, they do. They offer out emotional support and service dog letters like hotcakes. My doctor was extremely apprehensive of what I was asking him of, and cautious when I was asking him about getting the letter written for Denali. He wanted to make sure 100% of what he was writing for. But my doctor is very respectful about Denali. Yeah, I don't see why people throw a holy living conniption over that. If you don't like it, cut it off or put a patch in there. Like, it's not that big of a deal. There are countries that you need registrations from, and most people ship all over the United States, all over the world. So, whatever works. Alice is just sitting here. She doesn't want to be messed with, but she's just hanging out. What are you doing? Mamas. Kiki. Hi, Kiki. Denali's laying on the floor behind me and just staring at me. I can feel him staring at me. ESAs are great if you follow the laws and you keep them at home and you get them the right way. My sister has an ESA. Booker is an ESA. He is a written for by her doctor for autism. He is a ESA. I don't like the government issued vest. I like to put whatever I want on my dog. Um, oh, God. Carry weapons. Mace, stun gun, and a knife I have on me at all times. Call the dog warden if you see the dog. Call the cops if you see the dog. My neighbors got in deep crap because of their aggressive dog. I will not take pleasure in harming another dog. I will not take pleasure in doing something to another dog, but if it comes down to protecting my dog and me, it's gonna happen. I will protect myself and my dog in any way necessary that it takes. Yeah, as long as people are following the laws and not taking ESAs into public where they don't belong, by all means. I don't mind ESAs in any way, shape, or form. I live with one. Alice was my ESA before I got Denali. I know I called your name. I'm sorry. She just looked at me like, what do you want? Yeah, I've gotten to the point now that, like, I've come to the conclusion that before the end of it all, I probably will end up macing or punting or stabbing or tasing another person's dog. Honestly, if I accidentally mace my dog in the process, I'll feel bad. I'll feel real bad. But I would rather him accidentally get maced in the kerfuffle and it stop than him to be possibly killed. He can be taken to go get his eyes washed and flushed and be okay. That's just my opinion. I would much rather. Yeah, that's why I have a stun gun, because I can pick and choose. That's fucking stupid. As long as you're following the rules and not taking your ESA where it shouldn't be, it's not that. I don't care. Follow the laws, follow your rules like everybody else, and it's none of my business. My friend, his dog was just recently attacked by Rottweilers and was almost put to sleep, like fully euthanized. He was attacked so bad. The whole back section of his leg is gone. Part of his chest is gone. They had to sew it back together. They were going to do skin grafts, but they decided that it was healing up pretty well. So, yeah, I've had issues with those dogs before with Denali. And I felt awful because all I could think is if it would have happened to Denali. And his dog got his chest ripped open, blocking his owner from those dogs. That dog almost died trying to protect its owner. So, hello. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Give me just a couple minutes. I'll be out there.
Okay, no.
Okay.
How are you at?
What, John? No, I just stay away from dogs altogether. Most of the attacks that have happened have been out of nowhere. You can avoid them all you want, and it just comes out of nowhere. Oh yeah, that's why I record. I hate when people are like, oh, well, if you knew it was aggressive, then why were you recording? I recorded it. The German Shepherd that charged him. The reason why I recorded that is so that I could go and show them the video of this dog and be like, this dog is trying to get to him, so that way they would remove him and they couldn't say, oh, well, your dog did this, or your, when he didn't. He didn't. He looked at him like he was crazy, because he was. So I hate when people are like, well, why did you record? Because that is visual proof. Is proof of what happened. You can't hearsay, proof, visual, recorded proof of what happened. Which is why I got body camera. I'm working on getting it fixed and fixed to his harness. Exactly. What am I supposed to do? Like, I can't run. If I'm in my chair, like, the only thing I can do is use my body to protect my dog. So, yeah. Most of the time, I would rather be well aware and be able to see the dog at all times and then be able to see it than to lose track of it and it come out of nowhere. Because I've been followed. I've had people with dogs follow me. I've had people follow me in the store with their dog. Which is really annoying. I don't follow people around who are obviously scared of my dog, so you shouldn't follow me around when I'm obviously not a fan of your dog. So, oh no, there are definitely signs of aggression. I can tell. Trust me. But I'm not risking it. Yeah, no. No, I hate flexi leashes. Denali has a flexi leash for poop. That's it. For him to go poop. That's what he has a flexi leash for. That, and if Denali is off leash, he is on an e-collar and has off leash recall on an e-collar. He is never without any form of tether to me, ever. I also don't walk Denali. Denali goes and we go to like parks and stuff like that and let him exercise. He's not walked. And I am very choosy at which parks I go to, what dog parks I go to, and what dogs he is around. As long as the dog's under control and I can tell that it's under control, I don't care that dogs are off leash. Denali is reliable off leash, as long as we are inside stores. I do not feel comfortable with him off leash outside of stores. So on streets and things like that, anywhere near cars, I have him on leash regardless of how difficult it is. Because I don't feel comfortable. I don't trust people. It's not that I don't trust my dog, it's that I don't trust other people. Most of my problems have been at Walmart and the mall. A lot of issues at the mall. Which they did change their policy and are enforcing their policy after me bugging the ever-loving piss out of them for the last, 4 months after Denali got attacked. So. Alright, well, I'm gonna take my friend home. And I've got to wake up tomorrow and take my sister to work. So, yeah. Yeah, I live in Columbus, so, like, there's a lot of pets. Like, a lot. um, yes, it does. People need to understand the pros and cons to how much anxiety having a service dog can be. All right. Well, it was nice hanging out with you guys. I hope you enjoyed some of the, training section of this. Hopefully, I will do another video on some training. Suggestions are always available. So if you guys have any suggestions on what you want to see trained, let me know.